I studied art at Western Michigan University, and one professor suggested, why don't you start drawing with the saw? Why don't you bring your art into your metal? This stack of drawers is a glimpse of the journey that I've been on as an artist from the early 70s to last week. This was work that I did in the early 1980s. All of these have one rock in the necklace. People started sending me rocks from absolutely everywhere. This was my first clue at the power of nature. Now I'm going to go to the rolling mill. This is kind of like a printer's press. Now it's left a very subtle impression of the veining. I just have to get the glue and the actual leaf off. Then you have a nice piece of silver that is an echo of the leaf. I need to look at my color photocopy because I'm not sure exactly where that stem comes in. Let's see. Yeah. Soldering. This is the cool part. You have two separate pieces of metal, and by adding a piece of metal with a lower temperature, you join them. And I asked, what's beautiful here? I don't live by the Grand Canyon. I have to find my beauty where I live. So that's when I started to look at the weeds across the way from the studio. So much of my work is the balance of man and nature, how much we rely upon the plants around us.
Mr. Simmons, did you have a favorite hammer to work with?
Oh, yeah.
You used it for everything?
Different hammer for different work.
Tengo 8 hijos y todos están conservando lo que es el trabajo de la artesanía. O sea, todos son tejedores, todos, hombres y mujeres. Mis hijas son los que se encargan de lavar la lana y el cardado también se encargan mis hijas. Cardar e hilar.
Para obtener un buen hilo hay que lavarlo muy bien, que esté muy limpio y cardarlo muy bien. Es un trabajo lento. No es difícil, pero es muy lento, porque todo es hecho a mano.
After I finished high school, I made an announcement to my family that I'm going to college. After college, I'm never going to weave again because weaving was too hard. I didn't like to market. I didn't like to sell my rugs. It was just excruciating for me. And it wasn't until 1996 when we lost our older sister, Roseanne.
Our sister was the most talented one in the family. She was above all of us as a weaver.
I couldn't process the fact that we had lost a family member, a very important family member. And so I went to find an old loom that I had in my closet for many years. I took it out and I started using my sister's tools. Working that whole summer is how I process my grief. And after that, I started thinking, you know, she left 2 sons behind, and I thought if she has grandchildren, those grandchildren will need to learn how to weave. Now we have her granddaughter, Roxanne, in our class, and it's been really fun teaching her. Roxanne is our grandniece, but in Navajo, we refer to her as our granddaughter.
My sister and I took some spider webs and rubbed it on her hands, because if you hope that your granddaughter is going to be a great weaver, that's what you do. And it wasn't until she was 4 we decided that she was ready to become a weaver, because she was playing with dolls, real tiny dolls, and we could see how limber her hands were.
This is what it looks like. It's 2 diamonds. So I'm almost done with it. I'll probably do more 2 grays as I get older.
I know that it's going to get ingrained in her memory for years to come and to teach her children and her grandchildren. And I feel comfortable knowing that that's what's going to happen and that my sister's dream is going to carry on.
I grew up near Seattle. My father was an eye surgeon. My mother was a professional artist. But having 3 sisters and no brothers, mostly I would just go out and explore the woods. I was a biologist, and I focused on entomology. I do know the plants and the creatures. And then I worked with the hydropower industry. I was sitting behind a desk in meetings. So 10 years ago, I was thinking about what's my mission in life? And it appears to be to foster appreciation and understanding of the natural world. My father used these glasses for eye surgery. I need them, especially as I get older.
I have only been trying to get my laurel leaves to look like this drawing for, I don't know, 34 years. We'd start by drawing the leaves onto the gold with tracing punches that have less than 1/4 of a square millimeter of surface area. Chasing moves metal from place to place. Engraving cuts metal away. We want movement in the leaves. We want to feel the air. We want to feel the wind blow. We want this punch to walk across the gold. And even though it appears that I'm hitting that once, it's actually going. The hammer you hit it with is very important. This is a rosewood. You can hear it actually bounce.
My wife, she says, "You're a hoarder." These things I work with. And yes, there are certain things that don't get used, but we take joy in looking at them and maybe remembering a moment. These 2 hammers, one was my dad's favorite hammer. He used this to frame houses. And this is the hammer that was my grandfather's. They're virtually the same hammer.
This is a house post, so it's work in progress. It's just roughing it out right now. I'll carve this half and Lee will follow on the other half, and then we just move through like that. This is an historically relevant way of working and for an apprentice to learn. My uncle's studio and my father's bench was always all the tools. The foundation of all the work comes down to understanding a tool, how to make a tool, how to maintain a tool. Klita, nads. This is the trunk of a tree, the branch. This particular one is a pattern ad, so it flexes. See that slight little. My uncle made this 30 years ago. There's several different sizes of adze. Gutter adze, which is the big curve for really heavy work. No flex in this. Hook knives, curved, bent knife. It's a blade on both sides. You can do lots of detail work with it if needed.
Most silversmiths use the repoussé method. That means being chased from both sides. This is actually an impression from a 17th century German basin. Once I make the drawings, these drawings will be put on a piece of metal that is embedded in pitch. And we trace the drawing down into the metal. Then we start sinking the masses. Once you have totally sunk the figure from the back, then we remove from the pitch and we turn it around. And that's what we have, the relief. From this on, now you have to finish the front. You're putting all the details on and the sharpness of the figure. For the goldsmith, silversmith, metalworker, the hammers are the most important tool. And to use my favorite line from a Michelangelo poem, no hammer can be made without a hammer. So we have the forge, we can make our own. Each one of them has their own use, and you can see they're all different. This is a planishing hammer. You do not strike it, you just caress it, so that you are smoothing down the silver. This is my favorite. I've used this probably 10 times more than any other. Mwah.
Straight down the middle still. Sits on the table nicely, and then that's that.
These are heads, these are stakes, and this is an adapter. So we have various heads that we can put in these adapters for almost fit any contours, any shapes. As you're working, you have to have something that fits the curve and the radius is almost perfect. The better the fit, the better the transition is, and the better the shape is, and the smoother the shape is. You need tooling and hammers that complement each other. When I'm working on something like this and I'm using a flat side of my hammer like that, that will be complementary. And that will be smoothing it out and making a more uniform surface. And what you're trying to do is trying to come across with this peened effect, this planished effect over the whole thing that's so uniform, so lovely. The planished finish is one of the most beautiful things. Just making the piece hard and it's making it smooth and have the proper contours.